I was just friends, and he was saying the same thing about the whole fingerprint technology on the phone. He's like, man, that's about as far as I'm gonna go.
Right.
My face.
I'm good. I'm just too scared of that. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared.
Well, I am ready.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Go ahead and hit the track.
It's like speaking another language. Hold up. Code switching for the famous. Changing. Hold up. You wouldn't understand. It's what you wouldn't understand. But you wouldn't try cause it's dangerous. Blue game stay winning, I'm contagious. Hold up. It's what you wouldn't understand. It should be illegal. We getting paid wherever we go. We getting paid. Caught the wave on the speedboat. They hate flagrant, but we make all our fructose swish.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Unfaded Podcast, presented to you by Bandit Box, where we listen to you and ignore you all at the same time. What's going on, everybody? This is episode number 64.
Dang, been in it for over a year.
Getting old.
It's crazy.
All right, so what you're hearing in the background is the track You Wouldn't Understand. That's funny.
Because they wouldn't
understand. But the name of the track is You Wouldn't Understand by today's guest, Archie Green. But first, before we bring him in, you know, we got to handle some of our usual business. All right. So, you can find, Archie and everything on Tidal, Spotify, Instagram. But stick around. He's going to be in the building, in the room with us.
Yeah, he's going to tell you all about that.
But how rude of me. I'm your host, J1. What's good? And who's with me today?
Of course.
As always.
The Jamaican humble diva, the LA Bailey. Not really a diva, but more humble. Just saying.
And I know.
So what's been going on?
You know what? I gotta say, it's better than I deserved. Thank God.
Okay. All right, Dave Ramsey.
Right. Shout out to Dave Ramsey if you want to pay us for that little sponsor. I'm just saying. But better than I deserve. But you know what? This week has been really good. It's been eye-opening. It's been rough. But that's what it is when you run a business. That's kind of what it is. Everything is on your shoulders as a CEO. But everything, you know what, has been good. Thank God. I'm grateful for this week. I think it's been, as I said, better than I deserved. I could have been anywhere. I could have been in a freaking hospital. But I'm not. So I gotta be grateful.
So true. I'm trying to think of something that happened to me this week. I don't know.
The week goes by so fast sometimes. You're like, what happened?
Didn't I just talk to y'all? I feel like I just talked to y'all yesterday. And here we are, back on again.
Right.
What's up to everybody at Instagram? What's up, Queen Nicole?
See y'all coming in and out, huh?
And Facebook, what's going on? Those of y'all in the room, why don't y'all go ahead and tell us where y'all are watching from? Just put down your city and state. But we got so much to get through in today's show, so let's go ahead and get into the drop. All right, so this is the drop for this week. It's presented by Bandit Box Magazine. For news and hip hop and R&B, go and check out banditbox.com. All right, so we got Rich Brian, formerly known as Rich Chigga. He's dropping his debut project titled Amen. Amen, amen. The Indonesian rapper's been talking about this project since at least May of 2017, and it's finally here. So if you want to check out something expected to be on the project, pop over to YouTube and check out the video for Rich Brian's See Me. That is such a regular name. How you go from Rich Chigga to Rich Brian? Anyways, I just wanted to throw that
Rich
in.
Chigga.
All right, so we got a Wu-Tang Clan member, you guys, coming out with a new mixtape called Bring Back God 2, hosted by DJ Green Lantern. The mixtape has a remix of the track Fire with Method Man and Sadi Watt. I'm probably saying that so wrong.
It sounds wrong.
Sadi Watt, okay. But make sure you go and cop that mixtape over at datpiff.com later this week. Also, we got Sky Zoo dropping his latest album called In Celebration of Us. It's his follow-up to his to last summer's Peddler's Themes release. Now, In Celebration of Us has 15 tracks with features from Raheem Devon, Words and Curves, K. Cola, Jake and Papa, and Saba Abraha.
Mm-hmm. Got the names. You got all the good names.
I got all the good names this week. All right. And bringing us his 5th studio album is Justin Timberlake. He's dropping Man of the Woods. The album's got production from Justin himself, the Neptunes. Shout out to the Neptunes. Timberland. Shout out to Timbo. Danger, J-Rock. Shout out to J-Rock. Eric Hudson. I was about to say Eric. And Rob Knox. Now, Man of the Woods has features from Alicia Keys and Chris Stapler. The singles from the album are named Filthy. The other singles from the album are also Supplies and Say Something. So Timberlake is also going to be doing the halftime show.
If y'all didn't know.
For the Super Bowl. And I'm kind of excited. I'm always excited
just
for
needs to bring back
Super
Janet.
Bowl time. You
She
know,
needs to have extra soul thread in her stuff, you know.
Make sure she's wearing a hoodie. And some long johns underneath.
Long johns.
Right, something. I don't know. But anyways, that is the drop for this Friday. Go and check out these albums. Give them a little bit of time and tell us why you love it or hate it. All on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bandit Box. That's BANDEDBOX. All right.
But okay, so you said that Justin's album is called Man of the Woods.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
He says it's inspired by nature.
Inspired by nature, huh? Nature. Okay, I just think. Okay, I'm all right. Man of the Woods. It just reminds me. I mean, maybe he came up with his album name like way before, or maybe he was inspired by H&M. I'm just saying. Because
damn, H&M.
Because that's the first thing I thought of. Man of the Woods. Oh, so you want to be Man of the Woods?
I thought you were gonna say like Cracker Barrel. What? You know, Man of the Woods.
But I'm just saying. Oh, you want to be Man of the Woods, huh? Really? And then you said they had like some previews of a music video.
You know what? It's like this album for me. Like I seen the like marketing because I'm so used to like big, huge budget albums like that having really interesting concepts and like. I looked at every promo. I listened to a couple of the songs, and I was just kind of like, I don't know.
But didn't you say one of them he was kind of like on the mountains?
Yeah, he was like a rock climber, like John Denver. Climber. I don't know. He wasn't rock climbing, but he was just like,
okay. But seriously, come on, Justin, Man of the Woods.
Yeah. See, we
on mountains.
He went from the tuxedo to the woods.
Right from
2020. How do you do that?
All of that, and then now he's backpacking.
And they're wondering why the singles aren't working. It's like,
okay, Justin, be inspired. All right, you be inspired.
And maybe he got a few sleepers on the album. You know, I don't want the dude to bomb because hey, I actually like Justin's music and what he brings. You know,
that's just my little input on the name of the album.
Man of the Woods. Okay.
Like
last House on the Left. Scary movies.
I just, but as I said, he probably named the album like months before that happened. You never know. Maybe it's a gritty sounding album, you know.
You know what? When I first saw the pictures and I didn't hear any music, I was like, I'm used to Justin, trying to make us dance. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, this don't look like no dance anything. And then I saw him up there with who's that guy? Dang. Chris Stapler. It looked like a country record. I was like, are you pulling the Miley Cyrus on us, Justin? Going back to country, like not even back to country, just going to
the mountains. Going to the mountains. I don't know. I think every artist at some point after they've done all these albums and people have gotten used to a certain sound, they always go left with something else. And sometimes it's a win. Sometimes you're like, you know what? They can really do anything, any sound, whatever. And he is at that point where if he wanted to put out an album like...
So what you're saying is we should expect this from Bruno Mars.
Oh, wait,
within the next 10 years.
Well, you know what?
That's what you're saying?
But okay, here's the difference though. I feel like Bruno, his music is like that's just kind of in him. That mix of old school and the new, like that's just in. He can't get away from that. Like every song he had on the album had that hint of that flavor on it, right?
Like a throwback feel,
and it just seems like that's just what he breathes. So it's kind of hard for me to see him 10 years from now switching to, I don't know, like Daft Punk kind of sound. It just doesn't.
Really
I don't know. It doesn't make sense for me. But Justin, I don't know. That's kind of my thing on that. But we'll see. We'll see how this one plays out.
All right, so it is time. We're gonna bring in our guest. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh! What was that? The switch just popped my earphones. Don't do it again.
Okay, so let's get it. Our guest is a songwriter, rapper, and producer. He has written music for Converse and the Vice series Noisy Raps. Back in 2010, Talib Kweli handpicked one of his songs for his mixtape called the Community Mixtape with Mick Boogie, aka Mick Boogie, aka Mick. And his single Layers from his EP, The Black Pharaoh, has been streamed over 25,000 times. Not only is he making meaningful music in hip hop, he's doing meaningful work. All right. So he's brought and continues to bring awareness to the often taboo conversation of mental health with his Peel Them Layers Back movement. And it doesn't stop there. This brother is also inspiring and encouraging everyone to gain knowledge by learning every day using what he calls class. Now, that stands for creatively learning to achieve sustainable success. We're excited to have on with us today, Cleveland native Archie Green on the line with us in the building. What's up, Archie?
What's good?
What's going on,
Good
man?
to be here.
Definitely. I'm so glad to have you. All right. So tell us, like, how did you end up, deciding, hey, I want to be a rapper? Now, I know this story, but I just want to share it on you.
Sure. So ever since I was a kid, I always knew that I'd be an entertainer. My mother actually told me stories, when she was pregnant with me, they would go to like concerts, like jazz shows and stuff, and she would have to leave because I'd be like dancing in the womb like crazy. So I was always, music was always a part of my DNA. But when I was really little, I just knew I wanted to be an entertainer, either an actor, or I used to write stories and I used to record like radio shows on my my dad's old tape recorder. But and I had seen Michael Jackson, of course, who wasn't a Michael Jackson fan back then. But as far as rap, when I saw the Hard Knock Life video with Jay-Z, that was the first time for me. I was like, man, like I want to do that. I started writing raps. Wrote my first rap when I was 13, and I haven't stopped since.
Nice, that was dope, man. So I wanted to know. I saw something too where you said you saw the Hard Knock Life video.
Yeah.
With Jay, and I noticed that like your music is obviously, I mean, it's cool to be influenced by somebody, and there's also like imitation and flattery and things like that. Your music is nothing like Jay's in the sense of like content, in a way. You feel what I'm kind of saying? What I'm saying? Yeah. Like maybe now, like the new Jay album.
Yeah.
But 444, shout out to that.
Right.
But at the time, like, were you kind of like rapping kind of like about what Jay was doing, or like what were your raps kind of about?
Yeah, my raps when I first started rapping was about the same type of stuff that Jay and Biggie and those guys was talking about, like the guns, the drug dealing, the women, and all this other, the standard street raps, and so it wasn't until Kanye West came out with College Dropout that I finally discovered that I could be myself as a rapper, as opposed to trying to be somebody else or trying to tell a different story. And when I first started rapping, I was trying to be hard and all this other stuff. And I grew up in the suburbs. Like that's not That's not who I, you know what I'm saying? That's not who I really am. So I just, eventually, and then my mom found she found a couple of my raps laying around the house, and she was like, yo, this is actually pretty good, but like, do you have to cuss that much? And do you have to talk about guns and all that? You don't own guns and all that. And so, from then on, I just decided to be myself on rap.
Cool. Yeah, that's what's up. I appreciate that. Do you think though, because you said that, in the beginning, that's what you used to rap about because that's what you were listening to before Kanye's College Dropout comes from. And I think we have to point out how important music is and how it influences kids and older people, but how it influences kids at that time. Because as you said, you didn't know the other side of it. You didn't know that, I could rap about I could be myself. Like, right. I don't have to rap that I have this gun that I know I don't have. Mm-hmm. So, it's so important. Music will always have an important role in children's lives. And that's why I think when they're young, you have to be mindful of what they're hearing around you all the time, because they're going to end up singing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like my when I was 15, my dad bought me Notorious B.I.G.'s Life After Death album. A little bit after that, like I had gotten in trouble or something, and so like he took all my CDs away, and but he told me like I could only buy the clean versions. So I used to have to go to Kmart to get all my.
Shout out to Kmart.
Yeah. Like, my parents was not. They, once I finally got a little bit older, like, they were like, you're on your own as far as like buying music. But for a while, like, they didn't want me to get the unedited stuff. They wanted me because they definitely saw like the power that influence had on me. You know what I mean? And how that could influence the way I dress, the way I talk, the way I treat people, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We have to be mindful of the type of images, the type of music that we show the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely. So in rap, I know a lot of people go through like a bunch of different names. Have you always been Archie Green, or have you had some terrible hip hop nicknames when you was coming up? MC Scooby Doo or something, you know what I'm saying?
Tell us the real truth. What was it?
I had a gang of weird names, man. Like my first rap name was G Money, because I was play off of my last name, and I was trying to get that money. And then I altered it a little bit to G Effects with a Z. I don't know where that came from, but I guess I was trying to on the game with my rhymes.
Right.
And then for a little while I went by Burbs, because again I grew up in the suburbs, so I was like, well, now that I'm rapping about that perspective, let me just there wasn't a lot of rappers that were claiming they grew up in the suburbs. There was still a lot of rappers that were claiming the streets. So I wanted to separate myself, from that crowd. And then after that, I went through a long period where I went by Soul Clap with a K. And that was that's when things really started, in terms of picking up for me. That's when the Talib Kweli thing happened, and I was working with Mick, and I grew a reputation as a producer as well. So after that, I actually I spent some time in New York as well. And when I was up there, I was in grad school at NYU, and one of my roommates, he was like, "Dude, have you ever thought about going by your actual name, like Archie Green? Like that's such an old school and cool name." And growing up, me and my dad share the same name. So growing up, I went by my middle name, and my dad was Archie in the house.
Okay.
So I never liked my name growing up, like my first name. And it wasn't until I got older and I grew an affinity and appreciation for it, because it's not just my dad's name, but it's also my grandfather's name. And he was he was my hero, you know what I mean? So in a way, he passed away a couple years ago, and So in a way, me using his name is carrying on his legacy. So that's how my name's evolved. They went from G Money to Archie Green.
Dang.
The full evolution.
Right. G Money.
Evolution.
G Effects.
Yep.
Soul Clap.
Verb. Soul Clap.
Right? The evolution of Archie Green.
But you know what? I like that,
Yeah.
like you were pointing out that you didn't really like your name. You're like, I can't use my name. Because sometimes for me, when I'm like, okay, when, I start going out there and doing shows and singing, do I want to go by Lorianne Bailey? Like, I feel like the syllables are just way too long. Like, I need something short. But it just takes one person, just a simple conversation, and be like, hey, your name is cool.
Your name is unique enough.
Archie Green. And it is. It is. And I like that you made that decision to go with using your name and continuing, as you said, that legacy, because that's your father's name too.
Yeah.
Now, did you go to college at Morehouse? I think I saw something like that somewhere.
Yeah.
For undergrad, right?
Yep. Yeah, I started my undergrad at Ohio Wesleyan, and then I transferred to Morehouse, and I graduated in 2008.
Okay. Yeah, because I ran into somebody today, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna have Archie Green on." It's like, Archie Green. Ask him if he knows about I think she said AIM.
AIM?
You know anything? AIM, AIM. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It was some kind of it's an acronym for something. I wish I could remember. But she's like, it's basically like you ran into each other at some kind of business. It was maybe a business thing or some kind of community type of event.
It was down at Morehouse?
I think it was up here in Cleveland.
Okay, I can't recall right now. It might come back.
And you said he ran into her?
No, like
or
they like she might have seen him somewhere.
Oh, so she might have known you from
yeah, cool. just kind of from around the way somewhere.
Well, she know who you are. No,
I know you. That's happening a lot more.
Yeah. I
know. But like it's like now I'm getting to a place now where people like they either have heard my name before or they already know me when I meet them, which is crazy. It's a crazy thing.
That's amazing, man.
I wanted to imagine what that feels like.
I wanted to ask you about the Black Pharaoh EP.
Sure. Yeah.
Such a unique name for a record, for a body of work, which have one of your biggest songs on there. What made you call the album The Black Pharaoh?
I think in my mind, in my mind, the motivation for just the concept behind the album for me was the view of 21st century America through the eyes of an African American male. And so the reason why I titled it The Black Pharaoh is kind of taking it back to pharaohs of like Egypt and African civilization, basically saying that we are all kings and queens, and kind of drawing back to where we came from. And it's why like I inserted, sound bites from Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali and Minister Farrakhan, just talking about how, basically trying to, to lift everybody up. I mean, this is around the time of Mike Brown's, the Trayvon Martin's.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wrote, I think it was for Blacks Only. I wrote that the night after the Mike Brown decision came back, like that they weren't gonna, take it to trial. Like I was just so furious. And I felt like at that time there weren't enough artists, that were coming forward and speaking out, outside of what Kendrick was doing. I just wasn't really, and the people I mentioned on the record, like Talib Kweli, J. Cole, Killer Mike,
I
there weren't really artists at that time that was, speaking out. And so I was like, man, I just want to use my voice to, to first off protest what's going on in America, but also to teach my listeners, primarily my Black listeners, like, look, like, what you don't have to be what people define you as. Don't forget where we came from as a people.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget who you are, the lineage of who you are. And it's like me being, a guy that went to Morehouse and being, I'm also a Q, like being a man of God, like all these different things. I wanted to blend all that together and put that out into my music, and do it in a very, unique, classed out type of way. So that was, and I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, but like, that was the primary thing. I just wanted to give the, in my mind, what the experience of being an African American male in the 21st century was. There's love, there's joy, there's pain, there's depression, but there's also pride and self.
I like that.
Yeah. And I noticed, also on the record, it deals with, like you said, just saying depression. And it's not really something that, we really talk about in the Black community. You know what I mean? It's kind of just, a lot of people are like, nah, yeah, all right, go over there, chill out,
True. Yeah.
go take a nap. You know what I mean? And like, that's it.
Yeah.
And, I noticed you got real deep on the song Layers, and you talked a lot about the situation that you were in. Can you tell us a little bit about Layers, and like what made you break open the box on something like that to get so personal?
Yeah, to be that open. Yeah.
Sure. So basically, what the events that led to me writing Layers, I graduated from NYU, got my master's in music business, and at the time I couldn't find a job. So like I ended up moving back to Cleveland, and so moved back in with my parents. Really didn't have money coming in, and and I had already been going through depression, most of my life, and I didn't know it. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was just sad. I just thought I felt down or whatever. Fast forward a couple months after moving back, I had started working. I got a job at Nordstrom, and I was doing mentorship work as well. And this one night, I just, clocked out, and a couple of my frat brothers had hit me up like, yo, like come through the house. I had just been back in town. Like we haven't seen you. And, part of me was like, man, you should just go home. But, I was like, I'm just going to get a couple drinks and then I'll be good. So like, I went to the frat house and I had way too much to drink, and I got pulled over on my way home and I got arrested. I got DUI. And, my license was suspended for a year. I was sentenced to 3 years probation. And during that 1 year period of me not being able to drive, I can only drive to work and to church. That's the only places I could go. As I wanted to specifically be able to go to church too.
Mm-hmm.
That was the darkest period of my life. I mean, I was too embarrassed to call people to come pick me up to do stuff, like whether it was going out to a club or a party and I lived in Aurora, which for people that don't know is like 45 minutes away from civilization. So like, I was like, you know what I mean? I was like far out from everything. And so I had a lot of time to myself to like think, to reflect. And, and during that time period, and that's the thing, like a few times in interviews, I've said like I had suicidal thoughts. Like I didn't think about killing myself. I just thought about like, why am I here? Like, God, why are you putting me through this? And so, one of my frat brothers that's also a therapist had, checked up on me and, and he hit me up and he was like, yo, like, have you ever thought about therapy? And I said, I've kind of thought about it, but I never, it was out of sight, out of mind. Nobody I knew was doing therapy.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, like, let me give this a shot. And, I, through my job, I was working at PNC at the time. Through my job, I was able to find not only a therapist, but a Black therapist. I wanted to make sure that this therapist looked like me and somebody who I felt comfortable with. And we spent the next, year and a half just kind of unpacking things that sparked from this traumatic experience of me being arrested and having a DUI, but unpacked that this has been something that's been going on most of my life, and how there were certain things that I had done in my life, that had triggered this depression, or certain things that had happened. So one of the things that I, instinctively kind of decided to do was, up to that point, I had never written a song that personal. Like I had kind of touched on some of the stuff I had gone through, some of the battles with my parents, because my parents, they, as most parents would be, were not the most supportive of my dreams of being an artist. And some of the people who kind of doubted on me and all that, but I never really talked about all the pain, the pain of being depressed, the pain of, but also more importantly, how therapy saved my life, and I wanted to use hip hop as a vehicle to spark that conversation. At Cuddy, you weren't really hearing people kind of, speak explicitly about therapy or speak explicitly about mental illness. So I decided to do it. And around the time that I finished writing and recording the song, Vice reached out to me. My homie Wilbert Cooper was the roommate I was talking about. He works at Vice, and he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, we're doing this, rappers with depression. Do you have a song?" And I was like, "I have the perfect song for that." And
wow.
So I mean, it was nothing but divine intervention, and and I put out the song, I did the interview, and after 2 weeks of I still remember the night that it shot up to 25,000 all in one night. It was just crazy. But it talked about, it showed me the importance of this topic.
Now I wanted to ask you, with now maybe you can explain this. With depression, is it that you are sad about something, or is it as far as the world can tell, you're actually sad about nothing? You get where I'm kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically you're sad, you just feel down, you feel kind of, your mind is kind of clouded, and it could be nothing wrong with you. It could be I actually had therapy on Saturday, and I told my therapist, earlier in the week I had a depressive episode, and what that basically is just for whatever reason you're just kind of in a somber mood. Sometimes I had when it was really bad, it was days where I'd be okay, or I'd start crying for what was seemingly no reason, because there was nothing wrong with my life. And so there's a huge difference between being depressed and being sad. Being sad is a temporary thing. Sadness comes and goes. Depression, there's no cure for that. There's certain things that you can do to cope with it, to kind of fight back against it. But as far as that somber feeling, that's something that, for a lot of people out there struggling with it, it's constant, and it doesn't stop. Between the being depressed and being sad. Being sad, you might have a specific reason. Being depressed, be no reason at all.
Right. Well, I mean, as you were explaining your story, I was thinking okay, like anybody would, you're coming out of school, you're trying to get your career going, you get your job, you got this degree, and it's you're having trouble finding a job, and then you got to come back home. That's a reason to be sad. You know what I mean? And that's basically why I asked the question, because I was just that kind of correlates. But is it, because I was thinking, is it just a prolonged thing? Right. But it really is something that would you say it's something that you are born with, or is it something that when you're dealing with life, is just something that you just kind of develop, and you're just you're getting through your adult life, and it's just something you're just carrying? Because for one, being an adult is hard enough. All right. Now try being a black male or a black female adult on top of that. You know what I mean? And everything is exasperated.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm speaking from, I'm not a therapist. So I'm speaking from my experience and what I've learned. And depression is also genetic, that from, from family members who had the same mental condition. But it can also be triggered by certain traumatic experiences in your life, kind of along the lines of PTSD, where, for some people, they might have, for, like a common story in the Black community is sexual abuse, sexual, being, touched inappropriately by a family member or something along those lines. That can start it. But sometimes you can inherit that. Like, and the thing about it is because, again, the stigma has existed for so long, 9 times out of 10, we'll never know, like in a Black community, whether or not we inherited that from a family member or not, because nobody talked about it.
Right. Yeah. Because I feel like they may talk about other health issues, like, oh, your great grandmother had diabetes and heart disease, and those are the things that they talk about, high cholesterol, but they never mention depression. And I'm glad that you clarify that, it could be something that you're born with because it's in your family, and it could be something that's developed from a traumatic event or, wherever that comes from. So I'm glad you separated that, because I've always kind of wondered, how that is, because it's sometimes when I was sad, I'm like, am I depressed? Am I just sad? You don't know. But I think it's great that you're having this discussion, using your music and also being an influencer, if that's the word, at right now, and talking about it and making that aware and getting that conversation started more often, so people can, either say, let me go and talk to a therapist just to check, because you never know. Yeah. And I mean, do you think that people should, like how they have like a regular checkup at the doctor, do you think people should at some point go and speak to a therapist to,
whether you feel okay or not,
if you feel okay or not, because to go and check to see if, maybe am I or am I not depressed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I mean, one of the things I believe, or I've come to believe after starting to go to therapy, is like, it's just like going to the gym. Like, it's like meeting with, you go to a personal trainer, or you go to a gym to get physically fit. You go to a therapist to get mentally fit. It doesn't matter whether or not you feel good or you feel down. Like, the thing about it is, your brain is a muscle too.
Yeah.
The right amount of exercise.
Yeah.
And so going to a therapist, I think the coolest thing about that is, like, outside of getting better and feeling better about yourself, you just learn different things about how you interact and what, and sometimes sometimes like I'll even talk to my therapist about different dreams I've had, and he can kind of, like, he's not an expert on it, but like, he'll kind of give me an interpretation of what that might mean. Like, subconsciously, there may be certain things that are happening in my life to think about these things as I was sleeping. You know what I mean? So it's just, there's a lot of different things that you can learn from unpacking, learn about yourself, learn about the world. So I recommend, it's not for everybody, but I recommend it, just because, again, it's good to make sure that everything is all right. But even if everything is on the up and up, it's just good to have, even if it's just once a month or once every other month, just to sit down and talk to somebody.
Yeah. We all need to talk to,
and that's important, because people want to be heard. Some people feel, like they don't have a voice, and that people don't want to hear what they got to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, what you're saying, I think is very important. And I just realized, I'm like, there's some things that we definitely don't talk about. Depression being one of them, sexual abuse being the other, and finances.
Oh.
Yeah.
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 These are the things that we don't talk about, and the things that you sweep under the rugs are usually the things that are affecting you the most.
Right. Absolutely.
They affect you the most. People don't like to deal with problems. It's like riding in your car. It's like you hear a rattle, and you're like, let me just turn up this Archie Green record.
Right. If I don't acknowledge it, I ain't hear it. It ain't a problem.
It's not falling apart. It's good. Like, you can still get from point A to point B. That is so true. Talking about that, I got a crazy rattle in my car right now. And it's like I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, it's fine.
Hey, either deal with it or it's gonna deal with you. That's
You're right.
everything.
You're
Facts.
right.
Facts.
Right, man. Dang, thank you for letting me know I gotta deal with that now. Huh?
She's like, dang,
Dang it.
I gotta deal with this Monday morning because
The steering wheel might drop off or something. It's just like
oh man. So tell us. Also, you talk to kids about this as well, right?
Yeah. So through my Peel Them Layers Back initiative, and then other public speaking engagements that I've had, I've been able to talk to teenagers, young adults, and adults. Just kind of talking about my story, but also sharing the stories of others. Like I had, last year, my first guest that I had at one of my talks was Mike Berry, who is a filmmaker, also mental health advocate. I've had Donnie. I think Donnie actually might have been there that night. But basically, with the Peel Them Layers Back events that we do, we partner with various health organizations, and also I had my pastor my first event. Stigma or another misconception rather in the Black community is like, if you go to church, then why go to therapy? Pray to pain.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Go pray to Jesus. Just go pray about it. I'm like, but
right.
People forget Jesus, God, he works through people.
That's right.
He works through people.
Right.
So sometimes you gotta go see somebody. So somebody's listening to the show, or I may have seen Archie or seen him talking somewhere and was like, you know what, let me go see a therapist. And they go see a therapist just to, do a trial run. And they like, listen, you're sitting there, you're like, I'm learning about myself. People really you might figure out, I don't know me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm learning a whole new LA now. I'm like, who is this? Life changes, things happen, and I think it's important. And just from this conversation, I feel like I might, definitely go find a therapist. Just because, as I said, sometimes I feel like I really want to talk to someone, and it is very important that you're doing this. I mean, I commend you for opening up and allowing your message to use that along with your music. Because as you said, that time where you decided to write the song Peel Them Layers Back, and then your friend, the one that works with Vice, contacted you. If you didn't have that, if you didn't decide to be open and write it, you wouldn't have that message to share. Right. And those 25,000 people would have never heard it. Right. You don't know who you reached out and touched with that song. So
it takes a long time to grow into saying, hey, it's okay to be me.
Yeah.
And just so, and if y'all are listening to this on the podcast Tuesday or whatever other day you listen to this, and you go to church, or you a deacon, pastor, or on the motherboard, stop telling people to just go pray about it, go drink some tea and sleep. Because that is not helping them. That's only going to make the situation worse. So you wonder why people lose it sometimes, because they don't have someone to talk to. We have to use our wisdom. Like God said, God gives wisdom. We need to use that wisdom too, and be able to discern when it's something that can just require prayer. Yes, prayer is important, but sometimes we need prayer and the help of His people to help us get through that situation. So, church, if y'all listening, just know that was a tip.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a couple more things. The Talib Kweli mixtape, how did that come to be? How did you get on that mixtape?
So around that time, he was running his record label Blacksmith. I think it was Blacksmith Entertainment, and he announced this competition or contest where he was taking unsigned acts and he was going to put them all on this mixtape. Back when blogs were super popular, and kind of give them a chance to shine. Basically, I originally was not going to do it. I wasn't going to enter the contest because that's just not at that time, I wasn't really that wasn't my thing, and then two, I wasn't really as confident in my music. And a buddy of mine was like, "Dude, you need to submit. Like, I'm telling you, like, the music is dope. Like, it might happen." And so I submitted a song, with hopes that it would be selected. And I remember it was like 3 months, of waiting, to hear something. Either I got it or I didn't. And I finally was like, well, I probably didn't get it. And then like the next day, his label reached out to me. Tyler like selected your song for this contest. And I remember when he threw a release party for it in New York at LPR, this club, La Poisson Rouge. And I flew up to New York, and Mick Boogie was spinning that night. And I remember when I walked in the door, he played my song in the club. It was like the greatest feeling ever. You know what I mean? To the fact that my music had brought me there, and that Mick was like, the DJ was playing my joint in the club in New York. It was a crazy feeling. So yeah, it was a situation where it was like, if I hadn't submitted that song, I wouldn't have, I never would have, if I didn't take that shot, I wouldn't have, who knows what would have happened. So that's basically how that came about.
Got you.
Right.
So you got anything new coming up? Any shows, new projects coming out? What are we gonna get from Archie in 2018?
So right now I am working on to the Black Pharaoh. I've got an EP. I'm actually working with the same producer that worked with predominantly on the Black Pharaoh. His name is Perry Wolfman. He was the one that brought in a lot of live instrumentation. And we're kind of doing the same thing with my new EP, which is called I Like to Be Weird. It's songs. I actually have the intro from it on my SoundCloud now. It's called A Weird Intro. And it's basically the best way I can describe the music on this new project is like, I felt like up until Black Pharaoh and when Layers and all that came, I kind of felt like I had to prove myself as a rapper, like really, speak on certain things that I felt like that crowds would embrace and that kind of thing. And now it's like I feel like I can be myself. I don't have to try to impress nobody because my city done put me on. You know what I mean? And at this point, I want to just inspire people as best I can. So I've got a few songs. The songs are pretty much done. Just right now, we're kind of in post-production, just kind of putting things together. But I've got a song called Ethereal For Real Moment, which I wrote a year ago, around this time last year. I wrote it after the Grammys, because once Chance the Rapper won 3 Grammys off a SoundCloud mixtape, I was like, oh shit, we all won.
Yeah, we all on it, right?
I'm not gonna get to the Grammys now.
We've been on SoundCloud.
Right. I'm gonna be putting that song out pretty soon. And that song is basically like, the best way I can describe that is like, that's my Grammy speech. And I got a couple other songs on that project. One's called Fear Not, which is, kind of tells a story about me quitting my job and pursuing my dreams and doing this, going all in. So at that, I've got another side project I'm working on, which is called, I'm trying to decide on the title. I'm either going to call it Dream Chasing God or Keep Shining King, like one or the other. And then, so as far as shows, right now, I just got a new job at Mocha Cleveland. I'm a community engagement programs manager there. So like a lot of the projects I'm doing now are focused on pushing the culture forward here in Cleveland. I started a series.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I started a series of events called Eclectic, and we did the first one of the series December, and it was called Wax Poetics, and it was on the art of sampling in hip hop. So like I brought in producers, I brought in DJs, like legends of the game, and we were making beats in the museum. You know what I mean? And
dope. That is dope.
And so like the next one You know, we haven't really announced the date yet, but the next one's gonna be on sneakers.
Oh man, you gotta invite us.
Right. I was like,
So you already know. You already know.
we gotta be in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of that. But as far as shows, like right now, I'm primarily focusing on putting the Peel Them Layers Back initiative together, and as far as shows, I'm trying to do bigger shows, like meaning with bands, unconventional stuff. So that's some stuff I'm looking primarily at March and April to start getting back on the circuit again.
Okay, dope. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to tell everybody, like, this is, you know, one of the most informative interviews we've done so far.
All right.
But make sure y'all go and follow Archie on Instagram at Archie_Green. You can follow him on Facebook at Archie Green 85. You can find him on Twitter, wherever you like to go and hang out, _Archie Green. And of course on SoundCloud, get him them numbers, man. We're trying to get this boy on the Grammys, you know, get him a nomination.
We're gonna do it.
But and then I gotta give you a little inspiration. Nicole just told me to tell you that you gotta speak it into existence and you gotta claim it. And you know you cannot be anxious for anything because
Absolutely.
that's not gonna help it at all. So as you know, you should know. But I'm just reminding you, you know, don't be anxious for anything. You got this, and people like authenticity, and you just be yourself. And like my father always tells me, there's a crowd for everything. Like
that's the truth.
There's a crowd of people that likes people who collect duck eggs. I don't know. So there's a crowd for everyone. So there's gonna be people that's just gonna love you and love your story and spread that message, and you're just gonna grow from there. So
Absolutely.
you know, congratulations to you and what you're doing.
Oh, go ahead, bro. You want to say something?
Yeah. First off, I wanted to thank you guys again for having me on the show. But I just wanted to comment on what you said, LA, about there's a crowd for everybody. Recently, Joey Badass came out and said, like, rap is trash right now, and you know, and like, what are y'all listening to and all that? And it's like, to a certain extent, like, depending upon the type of rap that you listen to, or that other people listen to, maybe it's trash to you. Hip hop is the biggest genre in the entire world. There's so many different subgenres, so many different artists to listen to. In my mind, it's in the greatest state that it's ever been. Period. So I just feel like, you know, listen to whatever you listen to. And as far as like I don't listen to radio for real. Like I listen to whatever's on the
people do anymore at this point.
So that's why I'm like, you know, like you can call somebody else's shit trash, or you can just continue to make great music. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm just gonna continue to make great music. Period.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna be front row at the next release show.
Right. I'm like, peel them layers back. That's the new dance.
So every episode we've done this thing where we play a clip because LA, she doesn't watch movies, so we like to quiz. We like to quiz people in the room.
Hold on, no, I do watch movies. I do. I'm
Frozen don't count.
I am an animated movie fan. Okay, I love animated movies. Shrek, Finding Nemo, Zootopia, Shark Tale. From way.
You watch Boss Baby? You seen Boss Baby? Because that movie was hilarious.
Yes, I did. Okay,
I gotta see Boss Baby. I haven't seen Boss Baby yet.
Boss Baby, Storks. Like I am the animated movie queen. Because it has such a good message. Sing. That just came out with Tori Kelly.
Sing. That was
Come
good.
on.
I got to give it up for that.
So I watch movies, okay? It's just that the classic ones I, didn't know.
It's just that none of those will actually appear on this show.
I think I was in Jamaica at this time, okay? I was in Jamaica for most of these classic shows. I'm just saying, okay? Thank you, Nicole. I'm just saying. Don't hate on the animated movies.
Well, we play a clip every week, and we try to get people to kind of guess, or at least I try to get people to guess, hey, what movie is that? Now, this week I picked a clip that I think everybody should get because I'm tired of everybody getting it wrong.
Yo, it is funny because like when I listened to Donnie's episode, I was like, it took me a minute. I was like, yo, either that's house party or class act. Like that's one of those.
Thank you.
And then,
Like, I would have accepted house party. I mean, it would have been wrong, but I would have been like, okay, at least you know what I mean. Y'all got the hip hop duo right.
He was like, it was wrong, but so far I think I'm 1-6.
Right. All right. So let's see. You know, you playing like the Cavs right now.
Oh,
yes, together.
More like the Browns. Don't know why people still buy tickets. Just saying.
Man. All right, so we're gonna run the clip right now. Go ahead, LA. Why don't you rock that for us?
Okay.
Put it back. Put it back. How many times have I told you, boy? Put that down. Put something in your head, not on it. Pull your pants up. Show some kind of dignity. Have some sense. What's he doing hanging out with you boys? You're all seniors. You're providing a deleterious influence here.
Mr. Clark, he's my cousin.
Please get this.
He's just going over music.
Music, huh? Let me have your attention. Everyone quiet down. I want all radios off instantaneously. All radios off.
Shut up.
Wait.
I want all of you to look at this slovenly, sloppy boy here as an example of how not to dress. Now, if you look like this when you look in your mirrors in the morning, find something else to put on. Self-respect permeates every aspect of your lives.
Don't look.
If you don't have it for
But Nicole
yourself,
got it.
you're not going to get it from anywhere.
Okay.
Now, to prove their self-respect, Mr. Sams and his friends here, you boys stand up.
Just the voice. Your voice stand up.
Mr. Sams and his friends are going to sing our school song.
I know this movie.
I want absolute silence. No one is permitted to move during the singing of the school song. All right. Let's hear it.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Mr. Darnell, no one is permitted to move during the singing of the song.
I'm speaking up.
Report to my office.
All right, I think we got enough.
Immediately. Quiet in here.
What you got?
Okay. I know it's something with. Should I turn off?
Yeah. Go.
Okay. Okay. Something high where they had to sing the song and they sounded terrible in the beginning, but I think they actually like really sing the song. Okay.
Okay.
But it's something with no.
You've
And I
seen
see
it.
his face. I know where they are in the auditorium.
Where's
Something
my
me.
wrong button?
Something me. No. Something me. Why am I trying to say East Side
I feel
High?
like Archie got it.
No,
You're
stop.
like so close. Like, you're like so close. It
You
is
really are.
something me.
Right, you so close. Man.
Lean on me.
Oh my god! I knew Archie had it. I knew Archie wasn't gonna let me down.
Oh my god! I'm 2 for 7.
Out here.
Okay.
Oh.
You know why I know that? Because I remember the name of the movie, and I know Kurt Franklin's song was called "Lean on Me," and it's just I was like, he's like, "There's man, oh yeah." This old school Kirk Franklin song, but yeah.
But little sidebar for everybody in the room. We're gonna be giving away dollar bills, y'all, on this show. Some of my own money.
Literally
Sad face.
dollar bills, $1 bills. Don't get excited.
But yeah, if you could guess some things in the room on next week's show, I'm gonna actually give the audience, I think, a clip. So get ready, because you might get a little. I'm gonna tell you, you might get a 5 spot. You know what I'm saying? You can't complain about a little 5 spot on your cash.
Oh, I thought you meant like actual dollar bills. Like, oh, this person won $1. Woo! No, okay.
Nah, you might not play. $5.
Yeah,
$5. I'll play for $1. But we're gonna do $5. $5 holler. Get the movie clip right.
You can get a
Send it
box
right to your Cash App, right to your PayPal.
You can get a box of KFC or Taco Bell for $5, and you know that box of Taco Bell with the nacho chips.
Okay.
with the nacho dip. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
One of them boxes. Yeah, you can clean up with $5 at Taco
Yes, you can. Or at Dollar Tree. 5 things for
There you
$5.
Bell.
Get you a mirror, some fabric softener, like some bacon. You find some bacon in Dollar Tree. Decorations.
Bacon.
I know. I don't know why they. Yeah.
At one point, that was
it's
weird.
extra thin too. Like you're like, what piece? What did you
Who's
do?
eating that?
Right.
What is it? Ain't no steak on this planet that's 99 cents, except for that. That ain't real meat. If you at the hospital talking about I'm sick. I don't know what I ate, doctor.
That's just terrible. I don't know why they sell meat in the dollar store. It just doesn't seem right. I get the juice, like the sweet tea, which is not even the right brand of sweet teas. Oh, it tastes funny.
But hey, we are recording this on Grammy night, by the way.
Yes.
You know, so if you're hearing this later on in the week, we're getting ready to go watch the Grammys. But we're gonna go ahead and get through some of the other quick topics. Archie, if you want to kick it with us and stick around for a little bit, you sure can.
Yes.
You know, if not, thank you so much, brother.
I'm actually headed to my parents now to watch the Grammys. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
this
brother.
Is yes. Music, so like I gotta
right.
Watch it. But I appreciate again. Thank you guys so much for reaching out to me. This was honestly like, one of the best interviews I've ever had. So I really appreciate, the questions and honestly, I really don't, especially coming from Cleveland, I haven't seen anything, like this, in terms of this type of podcast in Cleveland. So continue to keep pushing that.
Definitely. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. Oh.
All right, but I'm sure we'll be meeting soon in person at some point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'd love to.
All right, brother. We catch you.
Thank you. Take care.
Peace and love.
Peace. Archie Green, everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Man, I can't believe I got the movie. I feel so proud right now. Like, I got the movie. Like, man. 2-7. I'm doing better than the Browns right now.
So we're gonna try to flash through our topics real quick.
Yeah, because we got the Grammys coming up.
Great interview with Archie, so shout out to him.
So Drake, surprise release of God's Plan isn't only bringing heat in the US, but over in the UK. He's taken the #1 spot for the 3rd time. If you haven't heard that song, God's Plan, you want to go listen because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's dope.
I think.
Yeah, and so Jay-Z's going back into clothing with a new brand called AKA Sean Carter.
Oh.
According to trademark papers recently filed by Jay, he'll be producing a variety of clothing and accessories. The mark will include some unlikely products, all right, like shaving cream, perfume, cologne, bath gel, sunglasses, and eyeglasses. Carter's also filed for the name Hovino for a jewelry line with like tie pins, pocket watches, keychains, watches, etc. I'm surprised I didn't see toilet paper or something crazy like that.
I probably would have bought it, but it'd be like $20 for like a roll.
Right?
So New Orleans is about to be lit this summer. Essence announced some of the artists expected to perform at the annual Essence Festival this year. July 5th to the 8th, and I'm definitely going to make it a point to be at Essence Festival this year. It's going to be between July 5th to July 8th. The icon Janet Jackson is performing, Mary J. Blige, Erykah Badu, Snoop Dogg, Jill Scott, The Roots.
Get your tickets.
Escape, Fantasia, and Miguel, and etc. So they got a whole lot more that's going to be there. I know, like I have to be Nicole? In Essence this year. It's a must. And hotels and tickets are expectedly, as you know, they are going fast. So if you think you can afford to feed your kids afterwards, then get yourself down to New Orleans. Like, tell them that, listen, y'all, we're going to be eating some peanut butter and jelly.
If you think you can afford to feed your kids afterwards, go to
just get them on a nice meal plan. Peanut butter and jelly during the week and Campbell's chicken soup.
Don't kill them with the top ramen.
Right, don't do ramen.
Oh my goodness. So it threw me off. At Meek Mill's sentencing back in November, a court clerk on some I can't even talk. I'm jittery right now.
That's because the Grammys are coming.
I know. I'm ready. I want to see Bruno. But at Meek Mill's sentencing back in November, a court clerk is on some next level ish. They slipped him a note asking the rapper to help a struggling mom keep her son in college. Wanda Shaveria, I think that's how you say it. Anyways, her name is Wanda. We're just gonna call her Wanda. According to reports, gave the rapper the note without anyone's knowledge. The woman didn't hear back from Meek or his camp. Our guess is that Meek was too busy dealing with a 2 to 4 year sentence to think about this woman's college age kid. In the end, Wanda's son is still in school and is on track to graduate in May. All right. Plus, get this, more news about his case. The judge in Meek's case is being forced to release documents that may prove the rapper was treated unfairly. Meek Mill's attorney is alleging Judge Janice Brinkley is holding a grudge because Meek refused to do business with an associate of hers. An offer was allegedly made during a closed hearing in the judge's chambers. The Philly rapper refused, and lawyers believe this is why Meek's been treated to what some are saying an excessive sentence. With transcript in hand, they hope to get Meek out real soon, which I think they will definitely be able to do if this is indeed true, which I think it is. I mean, you got people at the court slipping papers on there. How unprofessional is that?
It was like,
why don't you just slip me $100,000? You know, like give me $100,000. Like, is this $100,000 gonna even get me out?
Right.
Probably not. It's just
trying to set people
right.
up. So listen to this, or this is gonna be interesting. A valet attendant is probably going to lose their job for giving up the keys to someone else's Ferrari. Trying to impress a female at the Vinoy Renaissance Resort and Golf Club, Levi Miles told a woman that he owned a yellow Ferrari, which he pointed to out in the resort's parking lot. So he was like, yo, that's mine. Miles ended up convincing the attendant his ticket for the keys were inside the car. He didn't get too far, though. Police pulled the sports car over because there were no taillights. Stupid. Things got a little worse for the valet attendant. It turns out the real owner of the $300,000 car is an attorney who plans to sue the resort. Damn. As for Levi Miles, he's arguing that he didn't steal the car since the attendant gave him the keys. That's an interesting point.
That is an interesting point, though.
I mean, I ain't steal it. I didn't break into the car. I didn't break the windows. I didn't pick the lock. Like, I literally persuaded him.
But you stole the car because you lied about it being yours.
That is true. But the valet,
he said he lost the ticket.
Shouldn't have a ticket. Oh, see,
he said he lost the ticket, or that he left it in the car, or something like that.
How do they get around that? Like, because I'm sure there's people who lose tickets all the time.
I don't know. Maybe
Nah, you wouldn't lose that ticket.
Nah, you wouldn't lose that ticket. But I'm sure it's happened, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened. I don't know how they prove it. Maybe they go back and watch the tape, you know.
Dang.
You can see I got out.
Man, I lost my ticket. You know, that's my Ferrari.
There's me, 9:42 p.m. walking it. See, I'm getting out. I'm handing the valet and I'm going in and I'm grabbing my girl. That's me. That's my car.
But so you weren't wearing the same outfit. No, I changed in the hotel because we did something inside. But I mean, yeah, you're right. He's like, I didn't steal it because he gave it to me, but you did lie, and you did. I guess you made him think that was
right.
true. Yeah. So
I like that show. Car was it Bait Car? You ever see that?
No.
There's a show called Bait Car. I don't know if it comes on anymore, but basically, the police set up a car.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the street. They'll like have some cop drive it. It'll be like a nice car or something. They just pull over to the side, park it, and get out and just leave the car running.
Oh, and see
people are like walking around the car, like opening the trunk, taking stuff out the trunk, and
like
then they drive off.
People just silly.
Like, really, they was like, well, they left the keys in the car. It's like, it's still not yours. Just because it's open doesn't mean, like, if you leave your door unlocked, which I don't recommend. And I also don't recommend leaving your car running.
Yeah, why would you do that?
But still, it's not, you know what I mean?
It's not yours.
It's not that person's car, to steal.
You're right.
The logic is just hilarious.
Just dumb.
All right, so anyways, it is time to get
I just wanted you to know.
Switch something, let the beat rock. For all my Southside niggas that know me best, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous. I made that bitch famous.
Make her famous, LA.
So a federal prisoner, y'all got to listen to this one though, like, cause okay, a federal prisoner briefly escaped prison. Okay, he hated the food so much he ordered out, except the delivery man couldn't actually bring it into the prison. Okay, so 25-year-old Joshua Hansen of Dallas crept out of the Beaumont, Texas federal prison onto private land to retrieve a duffel bag full of goodies. When Hansen tried to return, deputies arrested and charged him with escape and possession of marijuana. In the duffel bag, police found 3 bottles of brandy, a bottle of whiskey, bags of tobacco, and packaged snacks, and a massive amount of home-cooked food. Now, how did the cops know about this run for snacks? Well, they got a tip. A sting was set up after hearing about presumably multiple prisoners leaving and returning back to jail with contraband. Cops watched a vehicle pull up on the privately owned property owned by a rancher and watched them leave the bag that was eventually picked up by Joshua Hansen.
My first thought seeing this, I was like, Dad, they just let the car go. And the more I thought about it, like the car that dropped the bag off, I'm like, there was nothing illegal in the bag technically, which I think he initially, when what you read and how, at least how it was written, that he got put in, like, he got arrested for like marijuana or something like that. But I think that's what he was in for initially, is my guess, because in the duffel bag there was actually like no drugs, no knives, no shanks, no cell phones, you know,
just some alcohol to get him through the year.
You know what I mean? It was some alcohol. It was some. I saw some chicken,
some home cooked food.
I saw some macaroni. I saw some green beans.
But I think that's hilarious. Right. I think that's hilarious. He's like, I can't stand prison food. Prison food is nasty. I'm tired of this sloppy whack Joe's.
They got the Uber Eats of prison.
Uber Eats of prison. Like, he was just like, this food is nasty. Okay, I'm tired of prison food. I'm about to order out. And he literally escaped prison just to go pick up some food. Like, just to come pick up some brandy and whiskey and home cooked food. Like, I don't think, but what kind of made me say somebody was jealous, somebody was mad, because they said that they got a tip. So somebody in that prison was just like, oh, nobody's bringing me food. Sell no chicken? You're not gonna share your chicken with me? Nobody gonna share them snacks? Or you wasn't gonna share that brandy? Okay.
Let me get a bite of that Baby Ruth. No,
he was like, no. He was like, okay, I'm gonna tell the guard then, since you want to share none of your food, and make it seem like there's a bunch of people escaping.
That's equivalent to, like, you know, when you got the basketball, like back in the day, you play basketball, everybody, you know, playing, and nobody lets you. Like, something happened where you like, hey, if I don't get to do this, I'm taking my ball home with me.
Right. Nobody
like,
playing
you shut
basketball
the whole thing
today.
down. Oh, if I don't get no. If I can't get no Twinkies, nobody can get Twinkies. You know what I'm saying? Like, they made it sound like half of the prison was like going out there and sneaking out at night and grabbing like a bag, a special duffel bag in the middle of the field.
They set up a sting operation for some dude trying to pick up some home cooked food. Like, that's what you call a hater. Like, there's no reason for you to be a hater in jail. Like, your life is already messed up.
Alcohol in there, so I guess that is kind of jacked up.
But come on, like, I get why they want alcohol in prison. You in prison. Come on. You want...
Yeah, brown
people
liquor,
come from...
Brown liquor do stuff to people.
That's true. But people already go to work, a regular 9-to-5 job, and can't wait to go home to pour them some alcohol, some vodka. They can't wait to get home and pour a glass of wine.
You make it sound like a work release program.
No, but I'm just saying. No, I'm saying, like, people, you know, they go to work every day and they tired. They want to go home and get something to drink. So I can only imagine if you in prison. Like, that's like, ugh. You can't go outside and smell the roses. I mean, they probably do go outside, but they ain't no roses. Like, They can't just go outside and chill,
Right.
you know, suntan. They can do. We don't tan.
Do you think they should have gone after the car? Because I don't, and they didn't. As far as what I've read, they didn't go after the car. So you can't really get mad. Is it really illegal to buy your own stuff, cook it, put it in a duffel bag, and just be like, I just feel like throwing it in this privately
They
owned
probably
field?
like, listen, you in here because you did wrong. You don't get to have people dropping off no
You don't get to
home
have
cooked meals
KFC.
for you. You don't get
Or
to have your
Popeye.
grandma's fried chicken. You don't get to do that. But I really think that somebody in that jail was hating. Somebody in that jail was mad that they didn't get any, and they gave the tip to the security guards. Because I guarantee you, if that wasn't the case, like he would have got his food, and he was going back in.
It sounds like some stuff on Orange is the New Black.
He was
Don't
going back in the jail. It's
Remember
not
they
like,
had that tunnel?
right, right. Oh, when they escaped and went to the river or something.
But they had like a tunnel in the green room.
I
or the
remember.
greenhouse.
Yes,
the greenhouse
yes.
underneath. The guy was like bringing food into the prison and like all that,
Yeah, they could have easily escaped if they wanted to, but they didn't.
They
My
went back
man
in.
went to pick up his food, escaped prison to go pick up his food, and then came back.
Right. Is
So,
it really escape then?
it's
I mean,
not
I guess if you want to be
escape.
technical, but I mean,
You can't classify that as escaping.
so is it breaking and entering? Like, so he escapes and then he comes back in. It's like, listen, we got you for escape, contraband, and breaking and entering because
First
you
of
tried to
all-
break back in.
First of all, he was like, well, I wouldn't have done so if you went and picked it up. Right. He was faithful. He was just like, you know what? I need to serve my time. I ain't trying to have no trouble. I'm about to just go pick up this food. I'm going to bring it in. If a security guard want a piece of this chicken, I'll give him a leg or something, you know?
The stuff, he had so much Tupperware and like aluminum foil. I'm like, how were they going? Like, where was he gonna hide it? Where was he gonna hide the duffel bag? Where was he gonna hide the containers? Like, did this dude work in the kitchen?
He probably did. He probably had his space set up right in the kitchen, like behind the back of the fridge or something. Something. He had to have worked in the kitchen. But that's messed up for that person in there that was jealous.
I wonder what was in those other.
You
deliveries.
could have got a snack. You could have got a glass of brandy, but you just had to mess that all up and waste these security guards' time for setting up a sting operation over him trying to pick up some food that he was coming back into the jail. Like, anyway, dang.
right? Oh, man, that is just so crazy, right?
But anyway, y'all, it is Grammy night,
It is Grammy night.
and we are definitely gonna watch. I can't
I'm not about to rap.
I can't rap. I was gonna try
I'm gonna let Archie do
freestyle.
this.
I was gonna try, but I'm terrible. I could do about 3 sentences.
I meant to ask him who made this because it's be hard.
But he said he was known as a producer because it could be him and someone else. We'll follow up with Archie and let y'all know if you're interested in getting any beats from him or knowing his connections.
Wave on the speedboat.
So, anyways, this is the Unfaded Podcast presented to you by Bandit Box, where we listen to you and ignore you all at the same time. We want you to like, share, and follow Bandit Box on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Bandit Box. That's BANDETBOX. For more news in hip hop and R&B, go and check out banditbox.com, please.
And if you need any advice whatsoever, please send us your questions and send it to banditbox@gmail.com. And you can listen to the Unfaded Podcast every single week on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, TuneIn, and of course the official Bandit Box website, banditbox.com. And I am the LA Bailey. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at the LA Bailey. And you can find me on Twitter at the LA Bailey _. And make sure you go to closet18.com to shop for your motivational pieces like Faith Over Fear, Overcome Today, I Love My Fro, etc. Melanin. Make sure you go check that out.
That melanin shirt is popping, y'all. Those are going fast. So make sure y'all go and get that melanin shirt. It's inspired by Martin.
Yes, inspired by Martin. Yes.
But anyways, I am your host, Shay One. You can find me on Instagram at The Real Shay One, and you can also find me on Instagram where I'm gonna be, tweeting during the Grammys and everything.
Yes, hashtag Bandit Box.
All right, hashtag Bandit Box. And so you can find me at The Real Shay One. That's The Real Shay One. Thank you so much, everybody. This is episode number 64. Shout out to Archie Green. Peace out, and we will catch y'all next week.
Show love to Brooklyn like I'm on the Nets. Cleveland this city tatted on the chest. Now I'm finessing, she is undressed. It's like speaking another language. Code switching, code of famous. Change it, don't lie. But you wouldn't understand. This some shit you wouldn't understand. You wouldn't try cause it's dangerous. Flu game, stay winning, I'm contagious. This some shit you wouldn't understand.
All right, Facebook, thank you so much for rocking with us. We will catch y'all next week. Oh, right here. I'm sorry, y'all.
Always.
We will catch y'all next week. And also shout out to the people over on YouTube. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Go and check out the Grammys, y'all. We might come on again. I don't know. During the show. Who knows?
Yeah, make sure you hashtag Bandit Box to join the conversation while you're watching the Grammys, because we know there's about to be some interesting stuff that goes on. But yeah, we'll catch y'all guys later.
All right, peace out, y'all.
I don't know what you're doing. Let's go back. I come out of that and go back to the page.
Hit that.
No, just click anywhere. Oh, press X. And go back to the page. And you see